Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Get out the beach! Get out the beach! Hans, get off the beach!
Okay, good. I wasn't sure. I thought the starting scene was still up. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 494th episode of GeekVerse Podcast. We're 6 away from the big 500. It's going to somehow be timed with our 7th anniversary. Who would have thunk it? Which we'll get more into later. But I am the I ain't worried Trask Snell, and I'm joined by...
I am the Barbarian, Dylan Muss.
And I am the one who smiles, Jessica.
There you go. Yeah, I saw both of your names. I was pretty jealous. I told this Dylan Offcast that this is just a One Republic song from Top Gun. I had nothing. And there were some good trailers. I could have picked a few of them, but I just didn't. It's one of those, the brains.
Yeah, you could have said
mush.
The Resurrected, The Invited. I feel like there was a lot of freebies this week.
Yeah. I could have done something with The Lies. I could have done something with John Krasinski, but I didn't. I just did what I was listening to before. So that's where we are. But, you know, this is, I think a couple weeks ago, like you guys did, it was in my chair, it was Kirklin. I feel like I can't remember when, I don't know, same thing as that. I don't know if there's, I'm sure it's happened, but I had to really rack my brain, I think, when you, well, I guess there's two yous here. When Dylan, Jessica, and myself have done just a 3-person podcast. Like, I feel like it has to be some random
This definitely
review.
happened.
Yeah, but it's been a while. Like,
Been a good minute for sure.
not anything notable, I don't think, like a big review or something. Like, I imagine there's some bad Netflix movie. Netflix have failed, not exactly, because like Emily was there, but still, that was like in that realm when we were doing a bunch of those casts together and stuff like that.
Right.
Which, man, when I used to share them on Facebook, I get memories all the time. There's so many movies like I forgot we reviewed for Netflix and failed that just like are just gone, just brain fodder, you know. So
Yeah.
How's everyone doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not too bad.
Jessica,
I
you
don't
doing
think I have
good?
anything interesting to share. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
That's
The
the reason
blank
I'm not
stare.
going to lie. That's the reason I asked, because she hadn't moved for a while, so I was trying to kill time. But I was like, let's see. So, yeah, Jessica's had some computer problems, so we'll see if she comes.
It would have been better if she was smiling based on like her
Yes.
name and the trailer that's coming up, but not today.
Yeah, no, she's still thinking when I said, how you doing? She's still thinking about it. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, this is GeekVerse Podcast. We got lots of stuff popping off. You know what's happening. You got Miss Marvel reviews. You can check out the Obi-Wan finale. Me and Dylan are going to do side quests later on this week. A bunch of stuff. But the biggest thing to promote for the next week or so, there's 2 of them, but the biggest one that's coming up now in... When you listen to this podcast feeds, it will be a week from now. So, you, as usual, for questions, we have the patrons. They can send them topics, news, stuff like that. For our 7-year anniversary, we're going to do what we do all the time is all of us will ask each other questions, but you, everyone out there in the podcast world can send a question. You don't have to be a patron. I think it will be on Facebook, but on Twitter, it's the pin post. Facebook, it will be. The patrons know it, and we'll keep reminding you and whatnot. But yeah, send in any question we said before, whether it's personal, geek related, anything related, music, food. Like, we've had a whole wide range of topics the past 7 years when we do these casts and everything like that. So whatever you want to do, send in, do that. And then also, we haven't narrowed down an exact date for this, but there is a questions. We've put it out there, same in the ether. We're going to be doing a cast where our significant others are going to be hosting it. We thought, well, for 7 years, let's do some fun. And there's been some good questions already. I'm making the docket and stuff like that. But that's going to be interesting because it's no, and we won't be on it. If people, just to be clear, it will not be any of us on it. It will just be them four. So you can send questions. Same thing about anything. You can ask at the dirt on us. You can ask about their geek related things. I've had 2 of them. You know, I've had one person ask personal, one asked something good geeky one where I said to Emily, I said, do you even know this? And she said, I have no idea. Like, it was a certain, what's her favorite film in a certain genre. So I was like, okay.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
yeah, so there's gonna be some good stuff there. So that's gonna all happen in July. I don't think there's anything else. Like, there's big stuff happening in July. I know Thor and Love and Thunder, but I don't mean there's anything big are happening. We did After 9 this week, and check that out. The originals we did a couple weeks ago. So lots of good stuff. Anything you want to promote or shout out, Dylan?
Yeah, I'll just side quest got a little mixed up this week for a variety of reasons, but yeah, I'm excited for our episode tomorrow, and then me and Dante are gonna do episode next week. But this maybe more fun thing is I'm gonna have Tyler Briggs back on the podcast. He's gonna join me on Friday. It will be a very self-indulgent episode. I'll admit the topic is very niche, but hopefully for the fans, it'll be fun to just hear from Tyler again, hear what he's been up to and whatnot before we get into the topic. So I'm excited to have him back on the network now.
It's funny, people come in waves. You know, like Jessica and you came back around the same time. Briggs is making his appearance. Kyle comes to Kelowna in August, so he'll be back on for an episode or two. So they just come in waves. You know, it's funny. But yeah, head down the link below. You can find everything there. We have separate feeds for majority of the shows, the news, retrospectives. I'm trying to think on Patreon right now. You can do we're doing the Predator retrospective, so we got that going on. And then next month we're recording the second Miss Marvel's done. We're recording the Lord of the Rings retrospective. So patrons, you're gonna be getting that early. We're gonna be releasing them, and I did make room. We're gonna be very busy, but I did make room for the animated films as well.
Good
so
stuff.
I think that's just you, me, and Kirklin, because I told Taylor, he's like, yeah, I don't need to be on those ones. I'm like, all right, but I'm excited because I've only seen a bit of The Hobbit, and I've seen Return the King. I've never seen Lord of the Rings, and then Return the King, I saw like the back half, and The Hobbit I remember kind of as a kid seeing here and there. But I think you said that because I remember I was listening to Side Quest, and the Thor Love and Thunder predictions you and Kirkland were doing, and that cast, and you had mentioned like, oh, we talked about it, and I completely forgot that we're like, yeah, we should do those. So I think you said you've never seen any of those, right?
No, I haven't even seen a trailer or anything or a clip. I think I've seen a couple screenshots. That's about it. So I'm very excited to even hear like the voices and stuff. I have no idea what's going on there, so that'll be a fun time.
Well, and if you look at even if you Google the poster of the Lord of the Rings animated film, it's a great looking poster. It's Gandalf, and he's pointing his staff, or I don't know, is it a staff?
It's a staff.
Yeah, okay. I just feel like there's supposed to be a more magical
he also has
name.
a sword, but he's probably pointing the staff in art.
And this is Gandalf the Grey, and he's just pointing at the hobbits, and he's all mad and everything like that. So Jessica might be back, might not. She said she may be on this one, so she's trying. But if not, we'll hear from her again in the future. But so one thing I gotta ask you, because I Taylor's and Madison's doing something. I can't remember. I think it's like a date night for them. So I wasn't expecting to hear back. But Taylor, you know, as always, creates thumbnails, does a good job. You know, we thank him for his service and everything like that. And I said, oh, can you squeeze it out before you go, you know, to this thing? Because I can make the thumbnails, but not as good as him, and not as he has the templates. He just whips them up like a batch of stew and everything like that. So he'd seen in the
stew is like a long process. He whips
true.
it up like a bag of macaroni or like cereal 100%. Or something like that.
Yeah. But at least it's good macaroni. Which Emily shared me. I don't know where it is, but there's a gummies brand that's doing a KD flavored gummies, like macaroni and cheese. That must be. I don't know who's.
I'm trying to find an image of this.
It was in a store, and it's like KD gummies or something like that. Maybe it's just Kraft Dinner doing the gummies, but I don't know who would want to taste that. That just does not look good to me. But anyway, so Taylor, as always, making the great macaroni.
Cotton candy flavored Kraft Dinner. Oh God, limited edition. I don't know if this is what you were talking about, but this is equally nasty.
It's probably in the same realm of things. You should probably
flavor. There's jalapeno, butter chicken. Okay, I want to try that one.
I don't think the poutine one would be bad either. I feel like there's a chance because I used to. So I think I may have talked about this before, but if not, every Thanksgiving I used to take leftovers and make a macaroni Kraft Dinner and put a bunch of those leftovers in there. So I'd put in turkey and stuffing, and it was surprisingly really good because it was pretty much just turkey and stuffing with cheese with some noodles thrown in, but it was really, really good, you know? So
look at some of these.
Oh.
Buffalo wings. Okay, ghost pepper. I don't think I want ghost pepper.
No, that would hurt a lot, especially if it's too creamy. Jalapeno, I think, would be fine. Like, that's a bit, like, there's lots of jalapeno chips, jalapeno cheddar. Like, I don't feel like that's a crazy one.
I feel like this Kraft Dinner cotton candy one, you know, we
you
did
keep
like that.
signaling that one out. You keep coming back to that one.
Remember we did that one, like, tasting of that Batman cereal? I feel like like, that's what they're looking for, is, like, influencers and TikTokers to, like, post videos of them eating this. I think that's the branding idea behind that one.
100%, yeah. And that, like, I don't think it would taste good. I've had like a bad experience with I did find mine, so I'll screen share that. But I had a bad experience, I think I talked about, with the they made nacho ones, and did I ever tell you about that?
So nacho Kraft Dinner?
Yeah, and I thought it'd be a great idea, and they made nacho and like spicy nacho. And I said, I'm like, oh, this is great because I'm always down to trying these gimmicky foods. It was this thing when I cooked it and I opened up like the lid. Oh, it was a horrid smell. It was I had about 3 bites and I tossed it. And to get back at me too, it's like while I was trying to toss it, I was wearing a blue sweater because of the winter, and it fell on it and it stained it a little. So now I always remember. Luckily, it's a little stained, but yeah,
I feel like those are both just like cheesy things. That's surprising to me that it didn't work.
I don't know. I think it was nacho, but it was something. I'll have to ask them. But it was the smell was just so horrid. It just was really. It was warm. It was like, and I know it's supposed to be warm, but I mean, like, it was like a sitting around for a few days warm. Here, I'll share my screen, then we'll get into some actual topics here. But
how did we even get here? I forget what the transition was.
Oh, no idea here. But here you go. Yeah, the macaroni and cheese gummies.
Okay.
So look at that. They're just gummies, but like. I feel like that has to be, again, very thick, very like, I don't know.
I don't like it.
No, not either.
Like and look, there's an ASMR video of someone eating them. That's something else.
Someone's serving you. And the problem is if you were to see these at a party, you might not think that. You might think they're like the little bananas or something.
They look like peanuts with like a little bit of spice on them or something. I would not want to pick up a presumed peanut and have that in the mouth.
Would you not even want to try one, though, just to see? Like, not buy a box, but
I would.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm just saying, like, if it was a surprising thing, like I didn't expect that I was about to eat that, and I did, I feel like my reaction would be not impressed.
I agree. And then Espo says, just wait until the Bat Calzone comes back for the Batman 2 releases. I got the Bat Calzone. I got 2 of them. They were they were Little Caesars that had pizza shaped as Batman, and it was not bad. I enjoyed my time enough with it. You know, I'm not mad at the purchase. But anyways, how we got on this is we were talking about Taylor and making thumbnails and stuff.
Right.
And because I want to ask your opinion on this, because I don't think we've talked about this at all, but it was more, he'll be listening to this, or he won't be, but I still sent him a message. I said, why did this make it a thumbnail? Because we have a Discord for the, the hosts, and I put the topics in there, and usually what I say is I send Taylor topics, say, hey, I need a thumbnail based around this stuff, go. And he made the thumbnail, all looks good and everything like that. But for some reason, in the top right corner, I don't have a photo of it right now. Oh, maybe I can pull it up now. I'll share my screen again. You'll see some behind the scenes. You're going to see the YouTube video details page, which I'm sure if you're a podcaster, you know exactly what that is. But so right there, it's a good looking thumbnail and everything like that. But if you can see in the top right corner, there's Barbie and Ken. I did not have the Barbie images. At all in this podcast. I wasn't sure why it was there, and I asked him like, hey, how did Barbie and Ken make it on it here? Obviously, like I said, I think they're doing date night, so no response. So I'll update the next newscast. But
that's so interesting.
I think it's just because there's a lot of pictures floating around the internet right now. He figured we'd be talking about it, so maybe this is a sign. Maybe this is him being like, hey, I want you guys to talk about Barbie and Ken. But now that Jessica's back we'll see how many remaining time, but I feel like I've not talked to you about either of this. So Dylan, I know you saw Little Woman, correct?
I have not, actually.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay, had you seen Lady Bird?
No, I am
okay.
I'm not a
so
Greta person.
You got no experience.
Although I want
with Greta.
to be, I'm just not there yet.
Yeah. So, do you have any interest in this Barbie movie? We don't know the exact plot, but at one point the plot was, Amy Schumer was starring in it, and it was supposed to be that Barbie got casted out of Barbie World, and it was kind of dealing with that. It looks like that might be similar of Barbie and Ken getting casted out of this world. They've cast multiple actors as Barbie as Ken, like the guy who played Shang-Chi. He's playing a version of Ken and stuff like that. So what are your thoughts on like a live action Barbie? Because it's like, as usual, not a controversial thing on the internet, but a lot of people are like, why are they, what's the deal with this? Why are they making this,
Yeah, I mean they have a great director and a fun cast, and I mean the look is great. Like the Boardwalk one image front that I saw today, like that's just fun. So I'm interested. When I see a lot of people talking about this, they're like, this is my most anticipated movie. This is going to be the greatest movie I've ever seen. And I'm not on that level. And I don't really get that part of it. But I'm definitely interested, even though I haven't actually watched any of this director's previous work.
Yeah, the rollerblade one's great and that's what it's. Someone has shared image. Like I literally had that Barbie in the '80s, and I think that's like there's so much fun stuff. I'm not sure if you've seen the photos of her in the car or him in the dream house, but at one point in this movie they're gonna live in a dream house, but it looks completely like plastic and fake. Like it looks like what it would be and everything like that. So what about you, Jessica? Where are you on this Barbie movie? That's because they're filming right now, gonna be out next year.
So far I don't have really any big draw towards it, any interest, and don't know. I've seen a lot of people complaining about Ryan Gosling as.
Oh, because his hair.
Is that what it is?
I think so, because like his hair is like ash gray, but it's like I don't know. It's just there's many versions. There's like hundreds of millions of versions of Ken dolls out there. I think that's kind of the point of it, And
I think it'll be a fun one to watch, but I don't have enough draw to want to see it in theaters or pay money to see it. For me, it's one when it hits Netflix, I'll have some popcorn and sit down and watch it, and play on my phone at the same time while it's in the background.
Oh, wow. Terrible. Yeah, no. Well, I'm excited to see what happens. I am one of those people that's definitely probably, I don't know if it's my top 5 for next year, but it's definitely my top 10. I love Greta. And then Margot as Barbie. That's just like, you don't like, duh. Like, that's just so good. And you just know they're going to do something really well. And I keep saying this. That movie, I guarantee you, it's going to be a massive, massive hit. Now, I think when people go see it, they're going to be in for something else because Greta does like a lot of like emotional stuff. So I feel like it's going to be like they're going to advertise it as a fun movie, but I think it's going to be about like ageism and sexism and stuff like that. Like, I don't think it's going to be just the Barbie movie, but
Yeah.
I can't wait. I love all the, and we heard her Barbie voice the other day, and it's like really like she's being like super high pitched with it and being like very like out there and stuff. So yeah, I can't wait for that Barbie movie. But
Nice.
you know what? 3 billion Thursday night preview says S Bubs. That's a pretty impressive one, But yeah, check out After 9. We met S Bubs. He's a real person.
I didn't believe it. I did not think S Bubs was real. I thought they were an advanced AI bot that was able to, post all these news contents on the fly.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you
Are
never
sure
know.
that it wasn't just a really advanced AI, human skin?
Yeah, true.
There was someone fired for saying AI is getting sentient these days.
Right.
Oh,
could
they
have been
could
like
be.
a Fallout 4, like one of those Institute robots that's like indistinguishable from a regular human.
Yeah, I saw this video. It was like they made like 50 robot dogs that can do controls and
God,
stuff.
That was
And
terrifying.
and I showed that to Emily. I'm just like, why do we need 50 robot dogs? Like, there's no need for we have dogs still. If dogs were going extinct, I'd understand, but we're dead. In 10 years, I just hope it happens after I'm gone and my kids are gone, maybe my grandkids. Like, I don't need robots to take over the world. It's just like, but it's going to happen. But yes, that was real. I'm not going to lie. I when people have like multiple social media accounts and not one of them have a picture of themselves, I was like, I don't know what the deal this person's going to be. But S-Bub's cool chat, thank goodness. So,
Nice.
it was a cool chat for some people, John Krasinski, and that's what we're talking about for our main topic. So there's not much, like, as we usually say, the bread and butter. There's not much meat to chew on this bone, but this is a quote that Sam Raimi said this weekend. It's kind of got people running wild and stuff like that. Plus, I haven't heard Jessica's thought on the whole John K. thing, so I'm excited to get there. So I have to find it. I'll read the exact quote when you guys are talking, but pretty much so now the film's out on Disney Plus. You can go watch it. There's behind the scenes, and now they're doing interviews and talking about the cameos and HD screen grabs and all this stuff. So they talked about why John Krasinski was cast as Reed Richards, and he said, well, this was an alternate universe, and Kevin Feige thought what better way to make the fans' dream come true by giving them this version of Mr. Fantastic in this universe. Now, you can take that one way or another, but lots of people were running rampant, like, well, specifically him saying, well, it's in an alternate universe, and that's why we went with the fans' choice. That's why he got this. So that's obviously, we talked about this a little bit of Doctor Strange, but this adds a bit more of, okay, is he going to be the Reed Richards when we get to our actual current, multiple films, our timeline, or was this just a fan servicey thing? And Jessica, I'm going to leave with you first. What did you think of, have you ever seen the John Krasinski like fan casting as Reed Richards throughout your years, or was this completely new to you?
Completely new to me.
Okay.
Didn't know that there was so much excitement surrounding him being in that part at all, actually.
Yes, lots of photoshops, lots of fake posters, stuff like that. And the dream is always get him as Reed and his wife as Sue. That's always the thing too, because it's like an easy checkbox and stuff. So obviously he's not in the movie that much, but what did you think of John Krasinski as that role from the little bit you saw in it?
I mean, I thought he was good. To me, like I said, I didn't know the hype. I didn't follow that. So for me, it was just another kind of famous person being thrown in for a cameo. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be opposed to him being in more, but to me, I mean, obviously the movie's on Disney Plus now. It's been in theaters. I mean, I don't know how we're going to continue to get more of him unless it's prequel type things and alternate universe things. And I don't know that Marvel is quite ready to start making movies of characters that they're currently also making movies of, but in 2 different dimensions. That's very much a DC thing to do, to have 3 Batmans going at once.
Yeah, but they do have they have multiple Captain Americas now. Like there's Captain Carter, and then there's Captain America. They killed her off, but like she could come back. You have like Xavier, who that's not gonna be the Xavier. So I don't think they'll do like a separate timeline. I think it's just they would ask like who's gonna be the person like in our main one. Like who's gonna be the one interacting with our Peter Parker, Tom Holland, or our like Chris Hemsworth, Thor, and stuff like that. Because even Loki, they're kind of dabbling in that a little bit, you know.
Well, if it's just if he said that it's only the alternate timeline, I can't see him continuing over in this one. Don't we have a Fantastic Four coming out, or is it not? There's no casting for that yet?
There's no casting, no directors, no writers that we know of. It's just like it's just a thing. There was a director. He bowed out. He was the guy that's doing the Spider-Man movies. He said he was just needing a break and stuff like that. So nobody. But there is Comic-Con coming up in July, and there is D23 coming up in September. So lots of people think that there will be some sort of kind of confirming or something. I don't know about the cast, but at least maybe a director and whatnot. So I will ask you this, Jessica, because this is what we talked about on the podcast, where I'm somebody that I didn't really like love the fan cast, but lots of people, like I said, lots of fan art, people really happy, like, man, we got this thing. Do you think that is a risky move to have him, okay, he played this because like, oh, we just want to cross off this box, give the fans something fun. But then when we get the guy who's going to be in our MCU, like our current timeline for multiple movies, and it's not John Krasinski, do you think fans should just be happy that, you know, they got that moment? Or do you think they'd be warranted to be a little upset that, hey, we casted this guy, but really we just want him to have a cameo and he's not going to be the real Reed Richards going forward?
Well, I mean, part of that probably depends on what Krasinski wanted. I mean, for all we know, he only wanted a cameo. He didn't want to sign up for a 6-movie, 2 TV series deal. So I think actually that it's almost more risky in the sense that now fans know that they can push people around, right? We got the Snyder Cut. We got the Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. It just shows that if people rally enough, they'll get what they want. So if people aren't happy that this cameo was all they got, for all we know, they could push enough that he does become the current Mr. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Then what do you take from this? Because like I said, we talked about this a bit on the Strange review, but now it's been a couple months, and this is at least them saying it. Do you think this is a confirmation of no, or do you think it's just like them playing it safe? Because at the end of the day, you could just still cast him. Because the argument was every character other than Xavier and him were in our MCU, right? Captain Marvel, Captain Carter, Baron Mordo, like all of them were the same actors playing these different characters. So what do you think about some of these comments?
Yeah, well, I guess just to go back real quick, for the fan cast part of it, like I was definitely on team John Krasinski for this role. In fact, I missed last year's superhero draft, but on the year before, I had picked John Krasinski on my list, and it was largely because of this. I ended up getting points from him being in fucking Super Pets of all things. And I'm trying to say, I feel like I maybe get another point for him being in this one, even though I technically wasn't on the draft last year, but he's on my most recent list and no one else took the character.
The shadow point.
Yeah,
point.
give me the shadow point on that one. Give me the alternate dimension point on that one.
Yeah.
That's more fitting. So I'm definitely a fan of it. I think in terms of digging into this quote, I just think, first of all, like they don't know yet, or maybe they do, behind the scenes know who their Mr. Fantastic is.
Yeah.
But whether or not Feige knows that, I don't think Sam Raimi would know that. Right? Like I don't think he's privy to those conversations.
Unless he's directing Fantastic Four, no.
Yeah, exactly. Which would be a very specific case, which I guess could happen.
I hope not.
I don't really. I'm not really putting much faith into this quote as being like a confirmation or deconfirmation. I think he's just kind of talking about the process of what he was doing when he was making this. But the truth is that it sounds like even at Marvel's house with the losing the director recently, they don't even know what's going on with this Fantastic Four movie. So I don't know. I'm not going to take Sam Raimi's quote here as a thing. I know he's like quoting like what Feige would have said back then. So it's kind of a Feige quote, but it's one that's kind of gone through a game of telephone.
Yeah.
And then I think we talked about this maybe on, I can't remember if it was like a newscast that happened after the Multiverse of Madness came out or on the cast, but I think if they do the approach where they bring in the fan, like what the fans wanted for this character, and then they pull him out, I think it's particularly dangerous for them to do that for Fantastic Four, just because it has had such a rocky road in terms of the big screen, of having 2 iterations, neither of them being super. Well, I don't know how they did financially. I know the most recent one didn't do great, but the one
I
back
think
in the
that
day, how did
first
the
one-
first one do
the
in theaters?
The first one I think did pretty well. Like obviously got a sequel, so I think it did pretty well. It wasn't no Spider-Man or X-Men,
Yeah.
but I think it did all right because it was a name as far as a comic book back in the day, as far as like one of the first ones. But I'm gonna take a look actually.
Yeah, I guess in terms of quality, then I don't think they're looked at as, or at least the first one. I still haven't seen the second one, so I'm a little out of my depth on that one. But not one of those like all-time great comic book movies, and so I think they really need to get it right here. So I think to kind of put that bait in front of people and then like pull it out is risky. And as Jessica said, like if John Krasinski only wanted to do one, this is the time to do it. But I still think it would be a risky thing for them to do, and probably not worth it for how little he had impact on like the story of this movie. It was more just kind of a fun scene. Now we'll see. Maybe it actually does have huge implications when we finally get Fantastic Four introduced in our universe. But we are in this other strange multiverse when that happened. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. I'm not putting too much faith in this quote as of right now, just because I think Sam Raimi of all people would not be the one who would know what the plan is exactly, and things are changing when it comes to Fantastic Four. It's still quite fluid.
Oh yeah. So that first one, this was in 2005. So this is not adjusting for inflation. It says the budget was anywhere from 87.5 to 100 million. Made 333 million. So it made like a nice little profit
bad.
there. So like a not like a runaway hit, but enough that they made that second one. And I actually didn't look at that second one. I think they gave him a bigger budget. That was 120 million, but then a 300 million box office. So it was going
Okay.
down. So that's why they were kind of like, let's stop doing these and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Oh man, I looked at the box office screen. Then came back, just an empty chair. She's Jessica's our own invisible woman right there. Actually, I'll take an ad break and then we'll be right
Sure.
back. And we're back. So yeah, it's interesting because I think at the end of the day, this could be a safe quote because even if that was the case, things could change, right? Feige could say, "Oh, it's an alternate dimension. We'll, cast him, and then we're never going to do it again." And then they could literally have a conversation later on about, "Oh, that went well, or we like working with you, or maybe Krasinski had a great experience, or they had a great experience working with him." Like maybe it was one of these things where once he got to see the formula, it's like, "Yeah, I would like to do this," which sometimes scares directors away, right? Because like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to fit in this box." So there's so much stuff of the never say never. I know it was a meme, but like, look at the months and months Andrew Garfield was not, I'm not Spider-Man, I'm not back and stuff like that. So, and I don't even think that is this. I think this is Sam Raimi. I think he is accounting a real experience. I am on the side that I always thought that this wasn't going to happen just for a fortitude reasons. I thought it was going to be a joint effort of they would need a lot of time from him and he would need a lot of things from them. And I don't know as far as even creative freedom if he would get that, right? So I thought like this was a fun idea. I do think that people should like brace themselves. And I've said this before that I always thought it was not a great idea. I thought they should have done this later on, maybe as if we had our Reed Richards and then do this fan cast. That's kind of fun. And but then we got our proper one. So it is an odd place to put the next actor in a position. Now that like Dylan was saying, like this movie as right now, we don't have people cast. Could be even a few. I think the date right now is 2024, but if it has problems, it could be delayed even more, right? Or not problems, but just they're trying to find stars, actors, directors. I think they want to get this one right. But I do think that at least in conception, this idea was to just have it as a cameo. I really do think that. I don't think there was any more greater plans to it, the same way as like we got Patrick Stewart back, but he also got his neck snapped, and I really don't think that that's the case where, to play devil's advocate of, every other character is playing their different version, but I don't think we're getting Patrick Stewart as our main MCU Patrick Stewart, Xavier, right? And so it's like it's kind of funny that you could say like, the two non-MCU people that cameoed in this movie are the ones that are staying non-MCU, right? Like I know they're technically in the MCU, but I mean like Xavier's from a different, franchise, and then Krasinski could just be a cameo. So it is going to be interesting. And again, I think there's lots of young actors that would still, of course, bite out the role because you get to be in the MCU, and maybe they could have some fun of them bring Krasinski back and do something. There's comic books where in the Ultimate Universe, Reed Richards actually became a villain, and that could be fun where you could like have him play like a bit more villainous
definitely.
role. So it again, I think that's how it started. I am curious though that I would love to, and I don't know if they're going to say this, but I would love it is like the chicken and egg scenario. Did they have the idea of they had this Illuminati setup, right? And did they have the idea of okay, everyone loves this fan cast, so let's put it in there? Or was Reed Richards always in there and they got Krasinski? That's what I really want to know is did they do it purely because of fan cast, or was there, even if Krasinski said no, was there always going to be a Reed Richards? That I don't know. And I feel like it's not. I feel like it's the cameo.
Yeah, that
you know?
I mean, yeah, that sequence of the movie, you could really like substitute anyone and just change a couple things, and it works just as well. Especially, I mean, even look at like Patrick Stewart. We talked about in the review how that scene where they go into like his mind or whatever it is, and it's just like this white room that like I don't know, not the most imagined set piece. You know, like they really could have plopped any character in there and fit it into the story in a way. So that's a good point as well.
Well, and it's funny because this was a minor, like not minor, he's like a C+ tier. But when I was on Marvel Alliance, we covered this. It was like, I can't remember, it was some stat holiday, and there wasn't many topics and stuff like that. So we're like, and on Marvel Alliance, you know, on GeekVerse, I love throwing out Slinging the Rumors. That one, Chris was like, I don't know if we should cover this because it's kind of clickbaity. But there's a C+ guy, he was running around with this scoop that they had approached Hugh Jackman.
I'm picturing like the streets of New York. He's just like, I got a scoop.
Yeah, I got something for you. He was saying that he had heard that Marvel did approach Hugh Jackman for Wolverine, and it's funny because in that rumor was that he was supposed to fight Wanda and get killed really brutally, and people talked about that. And I at the time said, "Oh, if this is true, I don't really like it." And now after Doctor Strange, I definitely believe that guy because that's what happened to all these other people. Now.
Yeah.
It's funny, there is something about like even Patrick Stewart, because we've seen him die so many times, I'm fine with it. I still think if they ever somehow get Hugh Jackman back, that definitely was not the role for him. But if that was true, that's where it's like, imagine, let's say, because the other rumor was that this guy got this call sheet, and this is the same guy that on this call sheet had Charlize Theron as Clea, so he had gotten some things right. So these was people that they've talked to or planning on it. So there's a chance that, let's say they thought they had Hugh Jackman, right? They got this is going to be huge. We're going to have Wolverine cameo in this Illuminati, which to me doesn't really make much sense that Wolverine would be on the Illuminati. Like, doesn't fit, like, to me, his character type.
I don't think he'd care about that kind of thing. Yeah.
No, he's just sitting around having these council meetings. No, that's just like a cameo, but how would Logan be, or how would Wanda beat Logan? Well, thank you, Mr. Universe Comics, for your comment, but I think when you're the writer, you can make any character beat
Captain
anybody.
Marvel. I mean, isn't that like isn't that
You
good
beat
enough?
Captain Marvel, you beat Xavier. Like, I feel like when you're the writer, anybody could beat anybody. You know, like, I don't know, Ned from Spider-Man could beat Superman if you wanted to write it some way. You know, like, as long as you want to. But they made Wanda pretty powerful. Like, Wanda's powerful by herself, and then they made her be the Scarlet Witch and stuff too, right? So,
Yeah.
but anyways, and I don't know, you just melt them down. You turn them into... Like she made Black Bolt lose his mouth, you know, so she could just say,
Oh, is
like,
that what the question? I thought he was asking like, oh, how could Wolverine possibly get beat? But I think maybe they're asking more like, what is the creative way they would? kill him? Is that what
if
the
that,
question
yeah,
is? I
if
feel
that's
sorry
a
if
creative
that was the
way,
question.
no, that could be if that's a creative way. Like, I feel like you just have to, like, either you take away his healing factor, or with his metal bones or his bones, you just turn it into putty, and then you just like, I don't know,
That
like
would be
that.
fine, yeah.
I don't know what you do there, but yeah,
Or
I
maybe
think
you
there's
make him
multiple
like
ways.
rip himself up with his own claws or something like that.
Ooh,
That'd be
yeah.
kinda-
Every
that'd be
cut and
kinda
everything
dark.
like that, you know, or you just brain wipe. Oh, so my universe comics is saying, yeah, that's why. Yeah, all you gotta really do also is you just like keep mind wiping him, because he always has a problem. Like, what if you just like wipe his mind, and again he wakes up and he has no idea where he is? You know, it's just because it's like if she took out Xavier, who's like a top tier telekinesis, she can easily get in Logan's mind.
Yeah.
Like, she messed up Tony Stark. She messed up, other than Hawkeye and Age of Ultron, she messed up every Avenger in that movie by just like saying something, right? So
Yeah,
that's
true.
the way it would go. But anyways, what I was saying is the reason why I think it's more cameo oriented is, let's say they had him or they thought they had him, and then he's like, you know what, actually I don't want to do this. That's where there could have been a board of like, okay, Jackman's out, who do we got next? And Krasinski as like Reed Richards could have been on there with no idea of any future planning with him going forward. Just, you know what, this is a great idea. People will be excited. It's going to get lots of talk. People have wanted this. And again, I guess like I will just tell those fans, like, I guess you could say like, hey, you got it at least one way, so be happy. But then I'm sure people would argue like, well, but I want a film of it. You know, I didn't want like, because even then I can't tell you if he would be a great Reed Richards because we saw 2 minutes of him. You know, like I think he was fine in the role, but you know.
Yeah, it's just the rough CGI and no one being in the same room makes it hard to see how his chemistry would be with people. You know, maybe he's like a fan of Sam Raimi too. Maybe that's why he's like, oh, sure, I'll do this for this one-off thing just because of Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
I have no idea. I'm just speculating. It could be any like tiny meaningless thing just like that, right?
Yeah, and then other people have pushed back of like, well, the suit that he has in Multiverse Madness, it has the same logo as the movie poster. So people are like, oh, look at that. But it's like, it's just a logo. You know, they can throw that 4 on anybody.
It's a pretty generic logo.
Yeah, like, it's just like, and if this is in the alternate universe, okay, they kept the logo, they changed the suit. You know, they've had white suits and stuff like that. So, but yeah, anything else to say on this one, Dylan?
No, I don't think so.
No, I hope we learn a bit more coming in a few more months. Even just a director. I'm not saying I need the whole cast walk out, even though I think that's the way they should do it one day is if they get that cast and there's a live event close, they should do a, hey, we're going to have all 4 people walk out. You know, I'm sure some might leak, but if you were to have all those actors walk out and like, this is Mr. Fantastic, like that'd be tons of fun for people, you know? So
yeah, I'm very excited to hear more of that.
Exactly, yeah. So we will see. So let's talk about some trailers. We got lots of trailers here, lots of little ones and things like that. So Dilmas, I'm going to start with you. Where do you want to go? You got Smile, you got Barbarian, you got Invitation, you got 13 Lives, and you got Resurrection. Pick away.
Let's go with Resurrection. This is strictly because it's the top one on my list of notes, the first one I watched today.
There you go.
And, you know, the MCU crossover. Tim Roth is in this movie. He, of course, is in the MCU. There you go.
Well, and Rebecca Hall. She's in Iron Man 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
She's the one that her and Tony hook up on New Year's, and she has like a change of heart at the end, but then Aldrich Killian just takes her out, you know, so.
Fucking Aldrich Killian.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, I feel like a lot of these trailers that we're going to talk about, these kind of like horror movies with...
You can tell October's coming up.
with like different gimmicks and things like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this one I'm really into because of the cast. And when it comes to the trailer, I was really into the first half of it. I'm a big Rebecca Hall fan, especially from The Gift. I think like this seems a similar-ish sort of role, which is fun. I feel like that by the second half of the trailer, though, I was a little more lost in the sauce. Like, I don't feel like I was getting... I guess I wasn't as gripped by the story hook as I initially was. And I think they're intentionally trying to make it very confusing. You don't know what's going on. That way you obviously aren't spoiled before you actually see the movie.
Yeah.
But I guess I maybe wanted a bit more semblance of, like, what's going on instead of just, like, a bunch of random confusing shots back to back. I'm also not really familiar with this director-writer's work at all.
I was looking at right now, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any point of reference, and I haven't even really heard people talk about the stuff he's worked on in the past. So
no, me either.
So yeah, I think for me it's really the cast and like some of the initial vibes that look interesting. I just don't know if I'm sold on it yet necessarily.
Yeah, I think this is one because this comes out July 29th, so I think it's the same weekend as Super Pet, so I might sneak away and see it. I think it's going to come down to a bit word of mouth closer to it, but like it's already been doing festivals and whatnot, and people are saying good things about it. So we had seen months ago, we talked about they just released a teaser, and it was 30 seconds, and all it was that scene where she's looking nervous at the bench, and she just sees him, and that's kind of it. Like they just cut it there. I'm curious because like at first they're doing what I really liked is, okay, she sees this guy, she says she fell in love with this guy and he did some terrible things, and that's it. So that's fun because like your mind starts to race like, okay, what's going on? I'm not trying to be spoiler. I imagine that girl in this trailer is probably their daughter. I'm just going to throw that out there. I just feel like there's some sort of twist there. But what I liked in the first half of the trailer was he was like, I don't know you. Like, I've never seen you before in my life. Now, what I was watching for is there's two versions of him. There's versions of him bearded and there's versions of him clean shaven. So I'm hoping that the clean shaven thing is either something she's remembering or thinking back to and stuff like that. So at first I was like, why in this trailer would you show your hand and be like, oh, he's right away gonna say, oh, I don't know you, and then 30 seconds later he's like, we were so perfect together, because you're like, well, that kind of kills the whole mystery. But I was looking for that because I'd seen with the beard, and the next time we saw him he was clean shaven, so there could be I imagine there's a sense of the unreliable narrator maybe playing out here, which is, Rebecca Hall can do pretty well. I can't remember. Oh, and if anyone in the chat, they probably won't know it. I'll look it up. But she did this movie with Michael C. Hall, which was really good. It was based on a true story, but she's just I like her a lot. She's one of those, like, I don't even know if I'd list her as like one of my, I probably would now, because I just feel like anytime I see her, I go, oh, I want to watch this because I just know she's going to deliver and she's going to always do a big performance. And that's one of the trailer things, right? It's like the performances of a lifetime by Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth, which is like, I don't know what the, and it was from IGN. So I'm not sure if I'm going to trust that and everything, but yeah, I'm a big fan of. It was called Christine, yeah, because it was about this. It's a biopic. It was about this news anchor who was suffering from depression, and she killed herself on air. And it was kind of like the lead up to her life and everything like that, and about like kind of the bad misogyny that was going around at that time. So,
sorry, was this from the director, the same director?
No, this is from the actress Rebecca Hall. She played Christine,
okay.
yeah, and Michael C. Hall was in it. No relation, nor are they married. But is it called Christine? Yes, thank you, yes, Bubs. But so I'm looking pretty forward to this. I don't think I'll see any more trailers because I don't want to know anymore. But I'm just curious if it is a situation where if it is, I don't know you, is this a situation where she's wrong, or is he just gaslighting her? Like, I think there's lots of fun ways you go. Plus, it's just like the actual, like, what is the bad thing this guy did? Like, why is he a bad dude if he is a bad dude? So I think there's lots of fun routes you could go, but it also could be a disappointing movie where when you get to the end of, like, okay, I've seen this many times over, and it just has good actors. So, Jessica, we were talking about Resurrection right now. She's still thinking about it, thinking really hard about that one.
She's still getting resurrected here.
She's actually watching the trailer right now, so.
Yeah, I can tell she's not too into it at the moment.
No, there's nothing there. Well, we'll go back on her thoughts after. I'm going to go to the next one because I see Bubs in chat, so I want to shout this one up. The Invitation. So The Invitation, did you ever see Dylan Ready or Not with Samara Weaving?
Oh, man, I don't think I have.
It's a fun little one where she's getting married, she's meeting his family for the first time, and they bring her to this nice house, and they reveal to her that, she has to be a sacrifice, and it's about making her way out. If you ever see it on Netflix or something and you're in like a Halloween horror movie, it's not exactly like scary, but it's really fun, and Samara Weaving's great in it, and Espos was talking about how it kind of reminded him of this, and 100% The Invitation reminded me of this, because it's a very similar setup where these people are going to a party. Now, I had seen this trailer with the black phone, and I think my only con for it, which is a big con, I felt like I had seen most of the movie when I saw the trailer. I was really hoping they didn't reveal who the wife was going to be, because I thought that was a fun dynamic of who is the wife. And I thought what they were playing up in the trailer was that this guy was getting married and she happens to sleep with him and doesn't know he's the groom, because he's being very suspicious of that. Oh, there's going to be something here. But no, it's like she's going to be sacrificed and all these sort of things. So it looked intriguing. This one, not so much like Resurrection. I don't think I'll actually be seeing this one in the theaters. I think this is one I would wait till home, because I just feel they kind of show too much in it, but could be a fun, interesting concept nonetheless. Jessica, you should go while you're here. You can talk about Resurrection and The Invitation.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my internet tonight, but yeah, so I don't really recognize this. Like, I recognize Rebecca Hall, but couldn't tell you where I know her from.
Did you see The Gift?
Yes.
That's the main. Yeah, she's the main lead there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we go. So I agree with what I heard from you guys saying while my internet was connected at times, that it's definitely, it feels like you kind of know most of what's going on. It doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot more that you can really get from seeing this in theaters. The internet classifies it as a survival thriller, which to me, it does sound fun, but it's hard because you don't want to watch more trailers for this one because it'll ruin things, but just based on this one trailer, it's not enough alone to convince me that you need to see it opening night type thing. So kind of have mixed feelings on it. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like, from what I can see, there is some excitement on it online. So I think someone said that it was
Where did you search for this excitement? I don't know. Where specifically did you go to find this excitement?
Well, just searching it up, there's a bunch of like news stories and things about written, directed, psychological thriller, premiered. Nah. Yeah, anyway. Sundance.
There you go. Oh, okay, you were talking about the rest. Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Invitation there for a second.
No.
I was like, I don't think I've seen much excitement. Yeah, it has. Resurrection has shown at some festivals and whatnot, so it has some sort of buzz. And this movie, I should say, is on Shudder. You know, but you know, Dylan, because you're a big Shudder guy. You know.
Huge Shudder fan. Yeah.
I swear I have Shudder. I've told Maddie this, and I think he was just talking about me. And I even said that on After 9. He's like, "Oh, I think I've heard Dylan mention the After 9." Like, I feel like I have Shudder. I feel like I'm not trying to be hipster trash, but I got everyone to watch The Host last year. Where I'm like, hey, there's this great little indie film on about like Zoom and horror. Like, watch it. You know, like, but I haven't watched The Stranger yet, Maddie. I will. I meant to download it. I'm hoping to this weekend. I
like
two that.
I like this vibe of movie. So
yeah,
I in that way I see where he's coming from. But yeah, Shudder. I was like, is this a movie? I kind of forgot that it was a service.
He was like, Shudder. You like the weird stuff, Dylan. Like, he was just like putting you in this complete category. It's like, well, you know, he definitely does like the weird
stuff. Because we reviewed Men, he's like, oh yeah, Dylan's definitely a Shudder guy.
Yeah, it doesn't say how long after it comes out on Shudder though. Just says that it's in theaters ahead of streaming premiere. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, we can use that to transition into The Invitation, which... So it's written by the same people that did La Llorona.
La La Land? Oh, damn. Damn, that would have been. I would have been in. You know. Oh man, never just search resurrection date, because the first thing that happens in the West, resurrection of Jesus was celebrated. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't, because at first it said Sunday the 14th. I'm like, oh, that's a very specific date, and that's why it's about something else. So I'm gonna put in film. But okay, so La Llorona. Okay, so they wrote it.
Yeah, not La La Land.
Taylor's a big fan of that one, right?
He is, yeah. So this is definitely right up Taylor's alley. And we've talked about this before on cast, where I've definitely stopped with those movies. I've seen 2 or 3 of them in that universe, and then it's just kind of died out for me. I do enjoy the look of kind of the period piece that they have going on with this one, as opposed to the modern day, which I think is kind of fun. It almost gives, vampire-y type vibes.
Someone said it was I think it was Madison said it was a vampire type movie. It's like,
well, there's
like,
people sucking blood like crazy. So
but
a lot of sex, a lot of vampires.
Yeah.
It's definitely that vibe.
But like, if you're in like a cult like thing, I think you could still suck or like drink blood and you're not a vampire. Like, I feel like they're known to do those type of weird stuff, you know? So I didn't take it as exact like a vampire, but I could be completely wrong, because Jessica said that too. So
maybe they're like real life vampires, where they don't actually like fly and turn into bats, but they just love sucking blood.
Oh, hopefully people are staying clean. I wouldn't want to be doing that, but
not a good time to be sharing blood with people.
No, definitely nowadays. And Jessica, to answer your question, so it's going to get for Resurrection. It's getting limited release July 29th in theaters, and then August 5th on Shudder.
Oh, okay. I had just seen the August 5th date. So I thought that was the theatrical release.
Oh, I got a good update about the thumbnail from Taylor. I'll tell you in a second about. Did you hear Jessica's about talking about why Barbie was on the thumbnail?
I saw the picture on there actually when I was loading up to join in, and I was kind of confused because that was not in the topic notes. But
I'll update on the next topic, because I know how to transition to it. So, but with the invitation.
The Invitation, yes. So the feeling of this one actually does get me a little bit more excited than some of the previous ones, just because of that era feeling of it. And, I know Taylor would be on this with me if he was here. I'm all about Vampire Diaries and things like that. Yeah, Taylor too, I know. But I don't know. I feel like as I'm getting older, the enjoyment of being scared is like slowly going down. So, I don't know.
Well, do you agree with My Universe Comics, who says, I find that scary movies are not as scary as scary games?
100% true.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree, but that is kind of tough because like most of the movies aren't in first point. Like lots of them, I feel like are POV, like first person, and then I feel like when movies do that, it's definitely not as, for the most part, not as well done as a video game because you're doing the controls. You feel like you're literally there. You're choosing where you're going. But I feel like for me, almost all those first person ones are always the goddamn shaky cam, like found footage one. Which I only have like a select slot of ones that like I enjoy in that category. So it depends because like I agree with that, but then there's stuff like something like a Hereditary where the last third act just has still stuck with me to that end of the day where you know. But then I talk about this all the time, like Resident Evil 7, that game has stuck with me for a long time. So I think both genres, if done right. But yeah, if you were telling me which one gives the edge, you're probably the games because you are controlling that person and you're waiting for someone to pop up and it always does and it gets you and it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I do have the trailer playing again just in the background here, and there is a scene with teeth coming out, so it is vampire.
Like actual teeth, like they're not prosthetic teeth.
Well,
See, because I talked about this with Taylor because me and Taylor like a horror movie where this guy is like a vampire, but it's just he's just wearing actually prosthetic teeth and they're not like he's not supernatural vampire. So I'm thinking I'm wrong. It's just I totally missed that and I did not get that. I don't know if it's needed. That actually for some reason gets me less excited. I like the idea more about like this cult imitation sort of wedding thing versus the vampire sort of wedding. Like for you were saying about like Vampire Diaries, that gets you more fired up. For me, it's kind of the reverse where I'm not like done with vampires. That's just not a genre that is. I want specifically like how next year Nick Cage is playing Dracula. Now that is something where it's like, okay, I'm in for that one. But the Invitation's like, oh, a vampire cult. No, I'd rather just be the cult. But you know, we'll see.
well, there was multiple scenes at the end there. There's one scene he's talking. You can see the teeth. There's a scene of like that biting.
Again, though, do you see the teeth go from normal to regular? They could just be caps and prosthetics.
It could, but I'm just saying it wasn't just a one-off. They do show it in a couple of different scenes, which could be either way, but I think
S-Bubs could be right. Looks like Morbius revived the vampire genre, so
Morbin time.
Yeah, it's Morbin time, yep.
Everyone jumping on the Morbin time. Got to release it in theaters again, Sony. We were all busy last weekend.
All busy that weekend, yeah. Anything else on The Invitation?
I missed Dylan's thoughts on it if he gave them.
Yeah, I haven't really said anything on it yet. I agree with Travis in that like they showed way too much in this trailer, but at the same time, yeah, I wonder if they didn't show like they really could have made a cut of this trailer that has 0 vampires in it, and you could get very much the same vibe from it. So I wonder how that would have gone if you are an hour into this movie in the theater and it's like they start introducing some vampire stuff and how that would go over. So maybe that was the idea. They want to like make sure that gets in there. Plus, there's like a lot of vampire fans out there, right? So like you want to make sure you're marketing to those people. But yeah, this movie just seems like very dark.
That group of people.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like the people who watched Twilight in like high school, you know, they might be into this because now they're wanting something darker. It's got like a similar sort of vibe. I don't know. It's just
I already said I was more excited because of the vampires, Dylan. I just said that.
Yeah,
but that's you. Is it going to talk to the whole audience? You know, because they just spent all their money on Morbius. So, like, are they going to do it again for The Invitation?
Well, I was the Twilight person in high school. That's why I'm saying it.
Vampire fans notoriously don't have much money. You can only afford one movie ticket a year. Apparently,
they're always buying shades. They don't want to get the sun.
But yeah, I liked parts of this because I love a good cult story. But yeah, I think it's maybe going a bit too far. There's also this weird scene that really stuck out to me where someone's just getting like a manicure and it's like very ASMR heavy in terms of like these sounds of like nails clipping and things like this. But I feel like a lot of people don't like that sound. Would you guys agree with that? I don't know if you ever had like I know my sister like hates the sound of like nail clippings and stuff like that. Like it's like a nails on a chalkboard kind of thing. I don't know if that's maybe it's just my sister, but I feel like maybe some people aren't into that kind of thing.
No, I don't like people that like leave nails around. I've been in a couple relationships with that where that's pretty much a deal breaker. If like no, like you need to pick that up, go to a bathtub or something. Like no, thank. I don't want to walk around someone's house where there's just dead nails on the ground. Like, no, thank you. So no, the nails not too bad. You know, I'm fine with that.
So you like the ASMR part of this then?
No, I so like I don't have a problem with the nails, but like I'm not
You don't love it either.
No, I don't really. I get it, but I don't really get the whole ASMR thing. So here's the thing. I get the idea of that. It's just the amount of videos that they have when it's like building a wooden horse and it's ASMR. Like there's some fucking wild genres out there. It's like the same amount as like porn. I cannot believe when I see these videos, I'm like, who, this is so specific for one specific person. But then I'll look and it's like 500K. I'm like, well, there's 500K people that want to see this wooden horse. So I'm not against the nails, but I'm not necessarily for the ASMR. But I get why they do it because it's a big audience right now, big thing.
Well, that's why I just feel like this movie in general has a lot of sexual energy dripping off of it. With it seems like there's going to be a lot of nudity and some sex. I don't know how intense these sex scenes will be, but yeah, it's definitely an R-rated film is what I'll say. Yeah.
Well, that was the invitation. So we're going to take our next ad break, and then I'm also going to reveal to you, we're going to talk some more trailers, but we're going to reveal to the why Barbie was on the thumbnail. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So the reason that Barbie was on the thumbnail, Taylor using his ghost account, Cryptic Clues. They aren't prosthetic. Take it from a cryptid blow. We know it's you, we know it's you, Taylor. Ruben's not here at 9:15 watching the GeekVerse. I know it's not Ruben. He is a child. But so Taylor, who made our thumbnails, he got the list, and he swore that this next trailer we're going to talk about, The Barbarian, was Barbie.
Oh, that actually makes a lot of sense.
And he said because he saw that and he thought with the new photos that must be the reason why it's on there. So sorry, Barbarian, you did not make it to the thumbnail because Taylor thought it said Barbie. But yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. But I'm gonna lead off with Dylan because that's your nickname, the Barbarian.
Right.
You got they were shouting out. They were taking a long time to producers from It, The Ring, The Grudge. But it's like I get It, The Ring, and The Grudge are like 20 years old. Like I don't know if you get like they're big films, but still like that's like what have you done for me lately? You know?
That's what I was gonna say. This trailer was so weird because normally there's like this happens a lot in trailers where you have like some cut where it's like a 5-second clip of the movie and then it cuts to something and it's like some line of text, right? And then they do that back and forth to like reveal a sentence that is talking about the plot or something. But in this, it was just about like the producer of It, and then like the executive producer of The Grudge, and then another freeze frame later, and The Ring. And it's like, first of all, executive producer to me is like the most meaningless term of all time. Like I have no idea what that means. This person did for the movie to get it to where it is.
Yeah.
Producer of It, that's like more meaningful, but it still is. I always take the word producer with a massive grain of salt.
More specifically, though, it said one of the producer of It didn't even say the producer; it just said one of. So this could be the guy that did the least amount, you know.
Yeah, to me that seemed like their climax of the trailer was like, this is who you got working on it. So that was a bit weird to me. Like that's not selling me on it. As for what the concept of it is, I liked, once again, this is like I liked the first half. Second half just went like so generic for me, but I like the initial hook, I guess, but even that is quite generic. So I don't know, I'm not sure about this one. I'm not necessarily sold. I just like the word Barbarian, which is why I picked it for my nickname.
There you go.
Not necessarily my favorite trailer of the day, because I think these other like horror thrillers that we've talked about and another one that we have coming up are, to me, a lot more interesting than this one, but it looks okay. Looks decent.
I agree with this, Bubs. The fact of that's when you really need to sell a movie, really in caps. And when you're listing off all those producers and stuff, like, I'll go next. 'Cause I'm the complete opposite. I think out of all these trailers, this is the one that intrigued me the most. Now, I do think this could not be a good movie. I'll definitely say that right now. I think almost all these, other than Resurrection, I think Resurrection you could watch and say, oh, I've kind of seen this before, but I don't think that one's going to be a bad one for some reason. I feel like because the cast, everything will be solid. Invitation could be bad. I think the one we're going to talk about later could be bad. This could be bad. But Bill Skarsgård, I'm excited to see that because we saw him, of course, in It, but I'm excited to see him more roles as himself because, he's doing the whole Pennywise and clown thing, but there's a lot of different variations he has to do in that role, and I think people just think of it like, oh, he's a scary clown, but I think he's a genuine, like, really good actor that could have some good performances. So I loved the opening of it. I agree with Dylan that the first half was strong, but I love the idea of, okay, so they're staying at this B&B or Airbnb, and Bill Skarsgård's already there. This woman shows up, which my favorite thing of the trailer was when they used the tagline when it was like, some people leave. It felt like a full 2 minutes when it's like, and some don't. It felt like usually you put those really close together, but this was so drawn out. But I like the idea of she shows up, they've both booked it, they both have the receipt, and, you know, even the beginning it's going back and forth with me. It's like, oh, you can just come in, and it's like, well, definitely, ladies, don't just like phone from the car. But then it's like, well, you know, I'll sleep on the couch, there's a lock, so you're like, okay, maybe he's good, bad. And I will give the trailer credit that way, because when she wakes up, you're like, okay, Bill Skarsgård, he's bad, there's something going on. But then later on, she goes downstairs and this guy's crawling on his all fours, like yelling for help, right? So I love that the trailer did not play their hand of, maybe Skarsgård is the big bad and he is the guy doing this stuff, or maybe he's just another innocent person. I like that they didn't show it. I like that there was kind of, because I thought that's what they're going to do, is I like that setup of, oh, these two people staying, and right away showing Bill was the bad guy, and oh, there goes the tension. Justin Long is also in this movie as well. You see him quickly in the trailer. So I don't know, like, is he the guy? Is he another guy that's being kept down there? So, and there was lots of stuff too where what my hope is there's some things like happen in A24 movies or something like Midsommar where it starts kind of normal, right? Like it's all real events, but then eventually just starts to turn and get super weird. They are starting to hint at some things here that I don't know if they're fully committed, like, oh, once you've had this experience, you'll be changed forever. It might be like that video talking about Resident Evil 7, that video of them seeing some old footage of a woman talking about like, this experience. It might hurt at first, but it'll be pleasurable at the end. That's the stuff that hooked me, because I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Now that could fall flat once you actually see it, but this idea, and then later on when they show the house in daylight, it's like a pitch perfect, and that's what's messed up, because at the beginning of the trailer, he's like, yeah, you don't want to be around this neighborhood. It's really scummy. You get robbed. But at the end of this trailer, it's like looking like the nicest place in the world. So honestly, this one it intrigued me the most, and this is one I actually for sure will be seeing day one theater. I think it comes out like August 30th or something, just because there's something about some of these ideas. Like I said, it could fall flat on its face, but and I've never seen this actress before. I'll have to look her up, but I like Justin Long enough. I like Bill Skarsgård, so it bought me a ticket, actually. And then while Jessica goes, I'm going to try and see if there's a director. I've known them for anything, but Jessica, what did you think of The Barbarian? Or I think it's just Barbarian, right? Dylan's The Barbarian, but yeah, Dylan's The Barbarian. And I think in the Discord I put Barbarian, so there's a bunch of titles going on right now. And Taylor put Barbie, so...
So, what was that episode of Black Mirror that you like? Was it Hang the DJ?
Well, there's that in San Junipero as well. But Hang the DJ is really good.
Well, she's in that.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. She's fantastic in that. So, perfect.
So, first off, yeah, Justin Long. Super excited to see him again. Haven't seen him in forever. Well, where's he been? Has he been?
No, I know. It's just like, it sounds like you used to like hang out with him every once in a while and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
but
we go back. You guys got Kevin Feige. I got Justin Long. You know.
Yeah.
No big deal. And I absolutely love Skarsgård. I watched Hemlock Grove, you know, back in 2013 or whenever that came out, and absolutely just loved him. I was super excited when he got cast in it, and I'm excited to see him, like you said, once again back in just as him. I thought he did a great job being that really kind of creepy character in Hemlock Grove, and so this kind of has that same feeling. And I agree that this is the one that I'm most excited about. It's rated R, so you know it's not going to just be, you know, they're in the basement and nothing happens.
It's really psychological.
You know, they'll lock them in there and then they get out and run away and whatever, nothing happens. But I do think that as you pointed out, it's really interesting that we do see Skarsgård down there crawling on the floor screaming that he needs help, because same idea, you know, for sure thought that he was going to be the bad guy. So whether or not he actually is, and he's just crawling down there to try and lure her deeper or whatever it may be, you don't know. And that, you know, makes it fun, makes it more believable. You know, is there going to be some piece of, you know, she comes in and has a drink, and that's why when she goes outside, things don't look properly. There's a psychedelic, you know, drug aspect of it. I'm excited for this one. I really feel like they did a good job leaving some mystery to what's going to happen, and I feel like it'll be one of those thriller rides that's, it's fun to be on.
I hope so. And that's a good thing. Skarsgård could still be the bad guy, you know?
Yeah.
My Comics Universe says, bro, I'm that guy in the horror movie when I'm walking the path and heard something in the bushes, I would go check to see what it is. Well, don't be that guy in My Universe Comics, especially in real life. You don't want to, you just keep walking. You keep running. You get a flashlight, some bear spray. That's what you need, not checking the bushes. But maybe if you're not checking the bushes, you should be checking the wells or the caves, because there might be some people in there, because 13 Lives is coming to Amazon. Did you see that transition? That's a good one, eh? 13 Lives comes to Amazon August 5th. I put this in here because it's obviously, I don't think it's one we'll be reviewing like as a review. I think we might mention here and there, but I put it in just because the cast is stacked. Like, you got Colin Farrell, you got Viggo Mortensen, you got Joel Edgerton, who's a GeekVerse favorite. We just talked about him in the gift there. Yeah, it's all over the place. And this is based on a true story. I think there's a documentary of it somewhere, but I think I know the end result, but I'm excited to see what happens. It's Ron Howard, who's also a great director as well. Thank you, My Comics, says that was smooth. Thank you very much. But I think that this is a classic movie where I will watch it because the cast, but if it was in theaters, I would not wait. Until 13 Live spoilers review. Yeah, I don't think we need the spoilers review, because I think we know what's going to happen if you know the story. But this is one that in theaters I would not pay money for, because it's like, I'm sure it's good. There's lots of good talent people, but with it being on Amazon, I'm inclined to, if it's that weekend's a crappy weekend, a little colder out or something like that, or maybe it's just too hot, I'd put this on just because the pure talent. And Ron Howard, he's done lots in Hollywood, so that's why he gets all these names. But I like this trifecta of like Viggo, Colin, and Joel. Like, it's just like a fun, just three actors I would have never placed together. So these type of movies that are maybe not my genre, but one of my favorite genre is put a bunch of fun actors together that you want to see them bounce off each other. Obviously, this is going to be a serious movie. I'm not saying it's going to be fun, but I like seeing performances of the mini ensemble. So I'm not sure if any of you guys would be checking this one out, but I want to throw it in there because of just stacked cast,
I feel like this is a movie that I'll probably watch with my mom. Like, I feel like she will just be all over this, wanting to watch this one. And yeah, it seems decent and it's fun. I feel like I haven't seen Joel Edgerton in a while. And Viggo, I just feel like I guess I would have been in Green Book was the last time I saw him. So that's also been a while. Colin Farrell just a couple months ago. But yeah, I think this looks pretty solid. I feel like, and Travis, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Ron Howard's kind of been on a bit of a cool streak. And I don't know if that's just been box office, or I don't know if that's been quality, because I don't know if I
think both.
Watched anything he's been doing lately, but
I think it's like a combination of that. The movies aren't necessarily bad, but they're always just, that was a film, it's like a suitable that was fine, but it's been a while since I'd say there's a movie that he did, I think it was actually, maybe it's been 10 years ago now, called Rush, and it was with Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Brew, the guy who plays Baron Zemo. And they're like, I think it's NASCAR F1 drivers. I don't know, you'd have to ask Kirklin, but that one's really good actually. But same thing, unfortunately, I think it did really poor at the box office, but the movie's really good, and it was like the first time you actually got to see Hemsworth have some chops. So obviously these three actors, you're not questioning are they good actors, but it's that thing that I'm kind of hoping he capture some of the old magic. You get like a Ron Howard banger in there somehow.
I'm just looking at his director credits on IMDb, and I forgot he did Solo, but anyway. But he's also been doing a lot of documentaries, it looks like, in particularly the last few years. So I think that's where those kind of chops will actually probably lend to some really good cinematography for the sake of this movie, combining just traditional direction with a very documentary style of this retelling of true events. So that actually kind of gets me hyped a little bit in terms of just the style of it, because I am a fan of some of the work he's done. I just haven't watched his stuff recently, other than Solo, which was not my favorite. But
it's funny.
I'm gonna put too much weight on that.
Well, yeah, you mentioned that. S-Bub says directed Travis' favorite movie, Solo. I really don't know what you guys are talking about. I've never heard of this movie. I'll have to look it up. But no, I actually watched a Netflix documentary today that he produced. It's the new one. It's called the Web of Make Believe, and it's 6 stories that are about the web, and they went bad. And then I'm not sure if Jessica, you watched this. If you haven't, you should, because you're always watching this stuff. Is My Worst Neighbor? I feel like you had to have watched that, right? Come on, you're watching the Sweden Obey one. You're not. So this is like you should. Mass has watched it. Shay's watched it. We had a little powwow about it. It is just 6 different stories of terrible neighbors, but it's always like much darker than you think of. Like it starts like, oh, this person's kind of annoying. It's like, oh no, it's really bad. The first episode is haunting. It has to do with an old lady.
Again?
It's like The Worst Neighbor or My Worst Neighbor. You could put in Ron Howard Worst Neighbor and it'll probably come up. But Dylan's right. They're producing a bunch of like his company, a lot of documentaries and stuff like that. So I didn't even think that he'd probably have a good grasp on that. So
I was at my grandma's place yesterday and we were watching a little TV at one point, and we were just watching like the old school channel. And I didn't realize that he was like a child actor.
Yeah.
And that's like where he got his start playing this like recurring character in a bunch of different shows, which I totally did not know that. So I thought that was kind of a fun fact and funny that I was watching that.
What was the
yesterday, a
character's
couple of
name
those
again? Is it like Dewey
Opie.
Howe? Opie, thank you. Yeah, no, that's
Opie
what he.
something, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was. That was claim to fame. Then he became a director, and then his brother's the guy that was always in a bunch of Adam Sandler movies back in the day. He was in The Grinch. He puts him in stuff, but yeah, he's always like some weird side character doing some stuff
Yeah.
and things. So. Yeah, you know, and then now you got Bryce Dallas Howard who's doing a great job now, you know, a bunch of stuff. So, Jessica, what do you think of 13 Lies? And did you find My Worst Neighbor? You were watching the trailer for My Worst Neighbor. Is that what you were doing there?
I'm looking for it.
You're looking for it. Okay. If you don't find it by the end of the cast, I'll send a link. But what did you think about looking at this trailer?
So I will not see it in theaters. I'll be 100% honest.
Well, good thing it's not going to theaters. It's just Amazon Prime.
Right,
Boom,
it is Prime.
streaming day one.
As soon as I saw Prime, I was excited. I was like, oh yeah, like The Boys, you know, we're going to have something great, something gory. And then it was a rescue mission. And I was like, I did go and look up what the actual events that it were based on and what happened about it and all of that. And it is really cool. It was really interesting. So it did get me to go and look it up. But as far as watching a biopic on it,
Think about all the bad movies you watch on Netflix. This can't sneak in there. You know, you've seen some of the worst of the worst. Those worst of lists, you've seen them all. 13 Lives, directed by Ron Howard. Joel Edgerton can't sneak in there, you know?
it's... When's it come out? You know, it depends.
August 5th.
Well, there was something else that came out on August 5th I got to watch. I don't remember what it was, but
I actually think it
was on Shudder.
Oh, it is. What is it? The Resurrection's out then. And I think Prey, that's the new Predator movie's out then too. August 5th is a banging day apparently for movies. Jeez,
I don't know if I'd say banging. Maybe like a...
It is for me.
Like a knock.
Yeah, I guess
like a
so.
knock.
It is for like I'm pretty happy with that, you know. So
Sure. Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might sneak in there, but it's definitely not. You know, if I got something else to watch, I'll pick something else.
If you want to see it early, Jessica, July 29th in select theaters. So just like Resurrection. There you
Perfect.
go.
I will not be paying money to see this.
Oh, damn. So,
Well, will you? Will you pay money?
no, the Resurrection I would think about like seeing that week, but this one, no. I like the genre's not really for me. I might put it on, but I'll probably watch it. It could be like a making dinner movie, could be texting movie because, like I said, we'll be doing it for the podcast. But I like those actors enough that I want to see the pairing, so I will probably watch it. But it's not gonna be also like August 5th. Like I'll watch Prey first, I'll watch Resurrection. It'll be the last of those ones coming out, you know. So. Speaking of, I got nothing. Smile. So we talked about this a few weeks ago with Top Gun. It was super weird because Emily and I were talking about this, and Taylor didn't get it at his theater, but Kirklin did. Jessica, when you saw Top Gun, did you get a little teaser for Smile or no? Okay, so yeah,
I did.
Originally, though, that was just the only teaser. So before Top Gun, they played like a 15-second teaser of like that guy in the hospital bed, and he's just smiling, and it would just like it just showed smile, and then it showed the date, and that was it. At first, I thought it was like a credit card ad or something because it didn't show that it was a movie. It didn't show any company logo stuff like that. This thing didn't even have an IMDb page for a while, so it was doing that like very like low key, like we're gonna like have some fun with some viral marketing for a little bit because everyone I would talk to be like, what the fuck is that smile thing in front of Top Gun? But last week, I think it was like the Friday, they revealed the full actual trailer. Now they're in full marketing blitz and everything like that. But this is a movie where I don't know. There's creepy shit happening, and if you see a smile, that means bad things for the person. Jessica, what do you think about this?
So when I saw this in theaters, there is one more thing. So it does say smile, and then there's that eerie kind of like noise, and then the picture of the girl is smiling, and then it cuts to black. And when that happened, I saw Top Gun with my mom, and she's just like, "What the fudge was that? Like, that looks terrible." So we assumed that it was a movie right off the bat. I will say that this trailer at least gave a little bit more of an interest to it, getting a somewhat of a background. And, you know, there's the one scene where she's lying in bed and you can see this kind of shadow in the background. And the one guy that is in jail that's still alive, you know, I'm like, oh,
Turk,
how did...
Dylan. Turk from Daredevil. Yeah.
Good to see him again.
Yeah.
He, you know, how did he beat it and why did he freak out, you know, about her? So there's a couple little things that definitely made it a little more interesting. And the whole, you know, the chick freaking out because she can't see him. That being said, I do think this has a possibility to be really terribly bad. It'll either be really good and really fun and, you know, kind of creepy, or it'll just be anytime someone smiles, it's just, you know, cringy and like not good. Those are my two. I'm hoping that it's the former, that it's fun, but yeah.
Mr. Muss.
Yeah, this. Well, first of all, I was just looking this up. So this is like the director writer's first feature film. He's done a couple short films, but not many credits on IMDb. So it's really weird to me that this would be before Top Gun, like this big budget movie. Like, how does that happen?
I think it's the same company. I think it's a Paramount movie. So it's like probably an indie movie that they acquired, and that's why it got there. It's the same reason why Sonic had, which doesn't matter now because Top Gun's the biggest movie of the year. But when I saw Sonic, they previewed Top Gun, I was like, I don't think any of the kids are here for Top Gun. But when I saw Top Gun, there was a bunch of kids in the audience, so I was fucking completely wrong. So
yeah, it's just a strange pairing for sure. But yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from, Jessica. I think this one could be of variable quality. I'm not really sure what to think of it. I do think there is some fun cinematography in this trailer, like the shot in the morgue where you see like the smile coming through in the blood. I thought was really fun. That last shot of like the person outside the car and then the head falling over. I can't think of too many examples of when trailers have like actually made me like have a jump scare, because usually it's like takes, you know, a movie where it's like setting up this scene, building up this moment, the music swelling. But that got me good. I like did a good jolt in my chair. So I don't know. I'm typically not as much of a fan of the jump scare stuff as like maybe the other kinds of horror, but I do feel like this one is just going to be a very unsettling movie. And I feel like it's a pretty good trailer in terms of cutting before you know how like any particular scene is going to end. You just kind of get the vibe, but it doesn't really spoil things like we maybe are predicting that some of these other trailers have. So I'm interested in this one. I think this is one of those like I just feel like this horror movies in the last few years. Yeah, once again, just throwing in like little gimmicks to make it interesting and stand out. And the gimmick of this one is that like people smile and it's creepy, but like that could work. Like that could work really well. So I'm curious. I actually really want to see this one. I'm pretty intrigued after watching the trailer.
So there's three things. That one, I completely agree, Dylan, that I watched this like 6:30 a.m. in the morning when it dropped, because I was like, oh, fine. That scared the shit out of me. Like when that head came down, that got me 100%. Maybe because I was tired, but yeah, that got me. So
you
it's
expect her to like bend over. Or
yes,
right?
100%. And then this neck comes out of nowhere. So I give them bravo to that. And I hope the rest of the movie has creative stuff like that. And we didn't just, it's one of those moments where it got me, but I also like, oh, I wish I didn't see that in the trailer, because I bet there's nothing in the movie that might get to that level. Because I'm the same as Jessica, where I think that this movie, I'm not going to say it has a chance. I think this movie is going to be bad. I think it's going to be bad. It's going to be, it's not going to be good. The plot's going to be very loose. It's just going to be focused on smiles and creepiness and, I guess, cool kills. But the third thing I think about is I think it's going to do really well. I think it's going to make a good amount of money. Whatever its budget is going to make it back. Whether it's Instagram, Facebook, like the biggest one I think is TikTok. You're going to see like the creepy like filters and stuff like that. Like if they're smart enough, like I know there's smile filters, but if you can do the exact one like this, like I think it's gonna be a hit with the young crowd. It's one of those ones where it's a dumb idea because it's just The Ring again. The guy literally says like, "Oh, how long do we have?" And he's like, "Well, no one survived a week." So instead of saying 7 days, they're saying a week. But it sounds the same thing where they see this thing and maybe they just have a week to live and then it's on to the next thing. I don't know how it's going to transfer. I don't know how she keeps seeing these different people. I did like that part where she was talking to a therapist and then it's all serious and like she just has like a little smile and she's like, "What's going on?" And then the big smile and you're like, "Oh fuck." But it's such like an easy concept that I think you don't have to sell anybody. Not like Invitation or not like Resurrection. Anybody, especially the young crowd, will see that trailer and you know, okay, you're gonna watch a scary movie where if people smile, it's over for them. Like it's a super smart, easy concept to sell. I just hope the movie is at least decent because then if it does well, I'll be like, oh, I'll be happy for it. But I think it's gonna be bad. It's just a question of how bad. Is it like an enjoyable bad or is it like this is a slump to get through? I think it could be enjoyable bad, but I'm really curious to see all like how it does. I think it's September 30th, so I don't think there's anything too massive around that time. Plus, it's right before Halloween, so that's a good idea of like, okay, October's coming up, but like,
I feel like it's got a very Jordan Peele-esque title.
yeah,
You know, just
100%.
very short, one syllable.
And I think
No
people
the.
are, no, and I think people are gonna go in expecting like, oh, it could be something like that, and it won't be. But you know, that's yeah. Even then, nothing really big comes out till October 13th, which is Halloween ends. So it could have a nice little run of some stuff going on, money wise.
Got A-Train in it.
I saw, yeah. I was
What's
like,
A-Train.
he's from The Boys, the superhero
The A-Train
show,
to Africa.
So, yeah, it's good because I haven't seen him in anything else. So I hope that he's a decent actor. So
It's also really random that Cal Penn's just
yeah,
kind of in it.
that was really when he's just like some therapist doctor. It's like, he must have owed somebody a favor or something. But yeah, sure. You know, I hope it's good. That's all I'm hoping for. But I don't have high hopes.
Do we have any type of streaming service that this is connected to that you've noticed?
If it was Paramount, it would be Paramount Plus, so that would be at least 45 days. So, and it did because it did say at the end of the trailer only in theaters. So, I think you could get it on there 45 days. But I also don't know. Dylan, you might know the stats because you guys watch Halo. Paramount Plus, it's available in Canada, right? Paramount Plus,
Yep.
I think. Yeah, okay. So it's because I know like Peacock's not, or I think it like has like a little small version that is about the full thing. So there you go. If you really want to see it, it'll be on Paramount Plus probably in 45 days. That's what their theatrical window is. I think Top Gun's not going to be 45 days because it's doing so well. They're probably just going to keep it in the theaters. But most movies like Sonic was out like right away and stuff like that. So
Nice.
anything else on Smile?
No, sir.
All right, we're going to take our last ad break, and then we're going to do a quick little topic because Jessica and Dylan have never played the BS meter game, and I'm very excited to do this, so we'll be right back. And we're back. So luckily, you know, we're almost at hour 30 here, but I always have the BS meter because these trailers, I wasn't sure, you know, how much we're going to have to say, everything like that. The BS meter is something that me and Kirklin created a while back because we did a newscast and we had nothing. We had nothing to talk about, but it was our day. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to do this. So I don't know if you guys remember this site, Dylan may more than Jessica, but We Got This Covered. It was that site that they would be putting out like very fake stories and things like that, and they were never real, it was just to get clicks. They've gone away. Some people think they may have transformed into this or there's some affiliates with it, but there's a new site called Giant Frickin' Robot. Now, the tough thing is they've gotten some things right in the past. They've been little, but also the argument is that maybe they are just guessing and they got a good guess ratio, right? So you never know, and that's the fun scooper. So what we do is I have 5 stories here, and because one time when we're going over them, we're like, you know what? Some of these are actually believable. You could read this and be like, this could actually happen. So I'm going to give you 5 headlines, and you're just going to give me a percentage of how much you think it could actually happen, what the actual, you know, factual evidence is, what you think is, you know, anywhere from 0 to 100. So I'm going to start with one just because, you know, Stranger Things Volume 2 for Season 4 is coming out this week. So this is one of their exclusives. All these are exclusives, by the way, all to the site. And that's why it's probably not real because, like, they get so many exclusives. Like, they're pumping them out. But so the Duffer Brothers, the people that are the showrunners of Stranger Things, they've been approached by Kevin Feige to lead a Ghost Rider project. Jessica, on a scale of 0 to 100, what do you think? Again, you know, if you think 0, fine, but, you know, is this completely out of realm possibly? Where would you see this at a percentage of actually happening?
100%. This is legit.
100%? Oh
is
my
legit.
god.
No. as much as Taylor wishes. I don't think it's quite 0. Somewhere between 5 and 13.
Because if you do 0, that's the never. That's saying never, which you never say never, but still. So
You never
5
say
and
never.
13. 5 and 13. Okay.
Between 5 and 13. It's low, but I could see it being a possibility. I could see them going for a Ghost Rider with that same type of feel. The darker.
Young kid, Finn Wolfhard. On the bike.
Oh yeah. Just de-age him a little bit or age him up a little bit.
De-age him?
depending.
What? He's like a 16-year-old. Is Johnny Storm or Johnny Blaze going to be a 10-year-old Ghost Rider? Just,
Well, no, they got to pause Stranger Things season 5 to go film
course.
Ghost Rider, and then they got to age him backwards for Stranger Things season 5 because everyone's getting
Right.
old here.
I'd love to see the internet if they casted Finn Wolfhard as Johnny Blaze. That would be crazy. I feel like that would not be met with a good reaction, even though he's just a skull with fire, and he wouldn't really be playing him much. He'd have to play the badass biker guy,
It'll be about the same as Tom Holland and Nathan Drake, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it worked out, though. Uncharted, biggest video game movie of all time, It
Is it
worked.
actually?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Most
Wow.
profitable, yeah.
I thought
400
Sonic
million
was like a
plus.
huge hit. What about Sonic?
Sonic 2, actually, let's take a look at that now, because Uncharted was out before Sonic 2 came out. So at that time, it held the record, but you might
Wait,
be...
Sonic 2 is out?
The movie, yeah. It came out in
my
February.
God. I had no idea.
That was such a good reveal. So it's at 401 million, and Uncharted was at 400 million. So it's like super close. I think
Whoa.
Uncharted still has the record right now, but I think Sonic will maybe eventually pass it. But oh my
I better
god,
go watch Sonic.
Uncharted is at 401.7, and Sonic
Wow.
2 is at 401. I think Sonic 2 is the highest. So it's one of those that like give it a couple weeks, but it's already on streaming. So it's pretty much a virtual tie for them being the biggest movie of all time in the
That's
video game
crazy.
sphere. Yeah. So you're getting Sonic 3, and you're getting a Knuckles show. Did you know that, Dylan? You're getting a Knuckles show,
I'm not going to watch that
and you're
one,
getting
though.
Uncharted 2. So there you go. Dylan, where are you on the Duffer Brothers? Leading, big Stranger Things, Netflix's big
Yeah.
show. Feige say, hey, come over, make this Ghost Rider project with me. I need you.
No, I feel like there's nuggets of truth in here. Like, I definitely could see them having approached the... Sorry, Duffer or Duffy?
Duffer.
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 Gotcha.
Yeah.
I could see that approach happening there, but the Ghost Rider part of it makes me go full BS on the meter. I just think you get. I don't know if Ghost Rider movie is gonna happen anytime soon. I think he's like a side character. So like a movie the Duffer Brothers are directing that features Ghost Rider, like sure, I think that's like way on the other side of the meter. But I think if it's just that headline as it is,
Yeah, led
BS,
Ghost Rider
way
project.
off BS. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it doesn't say that necessarily they agreed to it or anything like that.
No,
It's just
no,
saying
but
that
that's
they
the
were
idea that it's their
approached.
exclusive.
But I don't even think Kevin. I don't think he's. I don't think he's approaching him with that offer. I think he goes with something stronger. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you got a good pitch there. If they do I believe this? You never know, because they got Stranger Things that's done next year, and they're doing a spinoff. I don't know if they're actually show running that or whatnot. And the reason I'm at a 5% because one, I don't think it'll be Ghost Rider. I think Dylan's point is right. Like if it could be something that had Ghost Rider, but not a Ghost Rider thing. I don't even think Ghost Rider is going to get his own show or led project. I think he's just going to be a side character for a while because I just feel that's a better route. And two, I just also don't know, would they want to finish Stranger Things then jump into a franchise again right away? Maybe they would. Maybe like, hey, let's crash our ticket and go over to
Yeah.
Marvel. Or would they be like, let's do some original stuff like the Russo brothers do? And so there's some of these that like, there's one I will say that I am at a 0% at, but this is one that I will say 5% because you never know.
Okay.
So, all right. So Todd Phillips is developing a Two-Face movie in the Joker universe. So obviously he's got Joker 2, The Walking Phoenix. So not saying Two-Face would be in that movie, but he's developing a Two-Face movie that is in the same universe. Jessica.
Oh, me first again. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
God. Okay, so this Todd guy, what is he? Is he done? What is he again related
He's
to?
directed Joker, and then
A
he
little
directed
lone
Joker
movie,
2.
yeah.
Yeah. And The Hangovers and old school. Yeah, but he did Joker 1 and Joker 2. So the idea is that, and it's a developing. So not that he's directing, but maybe he would be producing this Two-Face led movie in this universe. So you got Walking Phoenix, the Joker, and some other actors Two-Face.
I feel like this one is got to be pretty low. Okay, whoa. I don't
I didn't
like
say
going
anything.
first.
I didn't say anything.
We got some faces going on for those audio.
Smiles.
I mean, I think that we would, if anything, be waiting to see how this next one goes. It was kind of met with some criticism for how Joker 2 was received, plus then the whole musical piece of it. So I don't know with kind of that criticism that they would be jumping on continuing in that universe right away. That being said, it doesn't necessarily have to include Joaquin, and he's already said, this doesn't usually do sequels, so it could just be a separate piece. But I also don't know that how would you continue in that universe without trying to tie them together in some way, or else it's just a standalone kind of Two-Face movie. I'm gonna stick it low. I don't know what my low is though.
So is it below 10%?
I was thinking around 10%, so I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna go 10 to 15 this time.
Okay, well I'm not gonna go for the full pass, but I'm gonna give it 40% because
Wow.
I feel like it's not easy, but all you gotta do is make a guy who's trying to be a lawyer / district attorney in a very scummy town. You could use not Walking Phoenix, but you could use some of those events of Joker of like the town got even worse and even more scummier, and he's trying to clean it up now. In comic books, many times Two-Face, like he gets burnt and he takes to this idea that he's going to invoke his own justice with the coin and everything, right? I think, like, even though Joker movie was not an anti-hero, you could almost spin that to be an anti-hero of these mobsters mess him up and he's a burnt face and he's coming to take him down with this coin and everything. So I'm not going to, I'm going to bump up to 45. I'm going to say 45 because I think there's a chance, like, that could be a very easy, low-budget movie to do. It could be in the universe and not have to have a bunch of cameos or illusions, stuff like that. So I think this one it could be possible. That's what I'll say. It could be possible. Dylan.
I'm gonna crank it up even higher. I'm going up to 77.
Oh,
77%
Wow.
on the meter. Because I
Wow.
think just specifically the way it's worded. Do I think Todd Phillips is directing this? Absolutely not. I think he is like the Barbarian. He is one of the executive producers. Where he
One of the executive producers
He's just
of
in there for
Joker.
the paycheck. Like maybe he's lending a little bit of expertise. And then I think the universe part of it. What's the guy? Murray? What was the name of the character?
Murray,
like the talk show?
yeah, Robert De Niro.
Yeah, like I think that could be the connection. Is like just in the background, a newspaper like talks about the fact that he died or something like that. Like it's very loose. Walking Phoenix definitely not in it. Lady Gaga definitely not in it. It's just like the very littlest amount of thing that you could put on the poster and say in the universe of Joker to get like everyone at the theater.
That's true.
So I think this one. I could definitely see this one being true, yeah.
Well, you brought Robert De Niro, so this is my other piece of Joker news. It's kind of in that vein. Al Pacino in talks for Joker 2. The role was unknown, but he would either be playing a cop or a psychiatrist. But do you believe do you believe that Al Pacino could be in Joker 2? Because in talks or anything, but could you see that happening? Because we got Robert De Niro last time, another classic actor of that era. Do you see that happening?
Do you think, like, from the perspective of them writing this article, are they trying to say that, like, these two characters, this cop and psychiatrist, both exist already, and it's like, which role do we put him in? Or are they just like, we got Al Pacino, now what do we make him in this movie? Like, what side of it?
Well,
is
with
it?
the Joker seeing things, there could be a chance where maybe he's envisioning himself outside in the real world and Pacino's a cop, but when they pull back Moon Knight style, he's actually just a
Oh.
psychiatrist, right?
Whoa.
So it could be something like that. No, I do think it's
Damn.
complete BS. But like the problem is, when I first saw this, I wanted to give this low, but then I thought about Robert De Niro. He was in a Joker movie, and I couldn't believe that because De Niro's not a comic book guy. He's like Academy Award, classically trained, like doing all this. So it's like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just like, would that feel almost kind of a copy of like those two actors of the 70s and 60s where like it was De Niro, Pacino. So like one movie you get De Niro, the next movie you get Pacino. Like, is that a bit too off? I don't know.
So what is your percent then, Travis?
27. I wanted to go lower, but just because De Niro wasn't the last one. But Dylan, what was yours? Because I asked you first.
0.5%.
Oh.
This is BS. This is total BS. I don't know. I just don't think they'd go down that road. without getting too specific, I think what you said of like this similar kind of actor from the same era who maybe was like in similar sorts of movies. I just don't see them going down that road again. And I don't know. I just don't see him playing a cop or a psychiatrist either. I don't know
want him
why.
to play the psychiatrist. Well,
And you know what? He's probably played both of those roles in movies before, so I'm probably just like sound like I have my own BS meter when I say that. But I just don't see it happening. So
he's
yeah,
played
4.5.
he's played a cop many times. So that would be kind of
Okay.
playing off some stuff. And even De Niro, they got him to play a comedian, which one of his famous roles, King of Comedy, was a comedian. So maybe, but the psychiatrist, I'd love to see Al Pacino talking to Joaquin Phoenix about like, you're so crazy. You got to tone it down.
Yeah.
You know? Jessica, your percentage on Mr. Pacino.
I'm higher than you guys on this one. I was thinking like 33%. I
Oh,
feel
It's pretty good.
like you said, we got, you know, De Niro before, but also we got Lady Gaga on this one too. So we're getting a couple of names in it. It's not just Joaquin now and that's it. And I do think that him as a cop is kind of fitting, you know. He kind of works. Maybe he gets blown up and becomes Two-Face and
Oh,
creates
man,
this next movie.
Pacino's Two-Face. Wow, that's big.
Wow. Stirring it all together.
So-
I like that.
So, you know, I won't reveal it, but you know, he's had a big month and everything like that. You know, his finale show just ended, and this newest rumor is Ewan McGregor is set to join the MCU as rumored to be Reed Richards. So you're looking at Fantastic Four, Ewan McGregor starring as Reed Richards from Giant Freaking Robot. And I will say this is the one for me that is an absolute zero. There's no chance, in my opinion, that this would happen. I think Ewan is just... they might go older for Fantastic Four, but like Ewan's just in a different like category of older. Not trying to sound bad. He just killed Obi-Wan, so he was great there. I could see him in the MCU. He's in the Disney family, but I don't see it as Reed Richards. So this is one that I'm seeing with like a big... zero goose egg. I'll say never on this one. Never. And this is a complete BS one that they wrote because Obi-Wan is probably getting the clicks right about now. It's like, oh, throw Ewan's name on an article with MCU, printing money over their giant freaking robots. But I'm saying 0%.
I think this one's too specific, which is why I don't like. If they just take out a few of those terms, I see where you're coming from. Like this is definitely clickbait city here. But if they just say
They
it
put
comes
this
from the
article
MCU,
too. Not this exact one, but they said Mary Winstead was joining the MCU. That was out this week too. So there you
Wow,
go.
there you go.
S-Bub's confirmed writer for...
Giant freaking robot. Yeah.
I could see it. Yeah, I think it's just too specific. Yeah, if they said he's coming to MCU, or even just like he's in Fantastic Four, you know, that's like less specific. But I do think the Disney family thing is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like that's happened a lot in recent times. Of like MCU actors going to other Disney things. Like a lot of them have gone over and done like voice acting for a lot of those kind of Disney remakes and stuff like that. And even some going over to Star Wars and whatnot, and vice versa. So that part of it, I think, does make sense. Like we've seen a lot of that. But yeah, I think this one's a clean 0 for me as well. It's just too specific. If it was a little bit less specific, I'd give it some percentage, but no.
Jessica, are you gonna make it a hat trick? 3 for 3. Are you also 0, or are you giving
I
it some
am
percent?
also a 0
Ooh.
on this one.
Basket
Yeah,
of goose eggs.
Watch it happen in July in Comic-Con, and Giant Freaking Robots like, we told you. Like, I just imagine Ewan stretching around though. You know, that's the Obi-Wan stretching around.
I don't... I couldn't see him going from such a well-known, beloved role to kind of the pile of shit that has been associated with Fantastic
Oh
Four.
my
But maybe that's why you get him. Everyone likes Ewan. He's just known as a good guy, you know, despite his last marriage.
guess-
Other
what
than
do
that,
we
he's
know-
known as a good guy.
What do we know, Ewan? Like, is anything else that he's working on that's kind of announced right now? I feel like, I guess he did Dr. Sleep recently, but I don't
that
really
was so
know what
good.
he's working on these
Birds
days.
of Prey he did. Remember, he was the Black Mask
Oh yeah,
in that.
that was pretty fun performance. Yeah.
He did Transporting 2 sequel, but let me take a look. I'll see what Ewan's up to right now, because he just finished Obi-Wan. There's lots of people thinking Obi-Wan might get more seasons, which I hope
Yeah.
not, but let's see, Ewan McGregor. Let's see what he's got going. Fantastic Four. No, I'm joking. Just somebody. So he's got. Oh, so he's. Right. I remember this. He's in Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. He's Jiminy Cricket, which I think is fantastic
Oh, yeah.
casting. I think that's great. He has 2 movies coming out, but then there's 3 movies right now in pre-production. I guess one's a voice, so he has 2 movies in pre-production right now: Everest and The Cow.
The cow.
I'm just gonna. Travis, are you on board with our Pinocchio review, where everyone's watching a different version of Pinocchio and we're all reviewing as if we watched the same movie?
No.
What?
I'm on board for you to do it. I'm not on board for me to do it because I also just don't have much. I don't have much reason to watch a Pinocchio. I'll watch that Disney one on Disney
And
Plus
then
because my
perfect.
kids.
And then you can review it as if you watched the same Pinocchio as all of us.
But I don't want to watch. I want to watch the Guillermo one. The Guillermo one looks, so there's I guess 2, but yeah, I think I'll be missing.
I'm taking
that.
the
busy
weird
that
one
way.
from like 2018, so that's all.
Yeah. Those were some good ones. So this last one, so I like to try to end off with a doozy because I'm not trying to show my hand, but I feel like I'm picking this one because it might be the most realistic, and that's why it's kind of fun because you got this maybe shitty website reporting something that, maybe could be right. Natalie Portman will return to the Star Wars universe. And now the reason I put this out is because I feel like there's 2 big things why this could happen. You just had Hayden Christensen. So Hayden Christensen, guy for years, memed on, hated on by the fans, stuff like that. He came back. You 2 don't care. He was in Obi-Wan. They de-aged him. He had a couple scenes. He actually played Vader in the suit. Not that matters because he's just Vader in the suit. But so he was in a few episodes as himself. And then you also just recently had Natalie Portman, who had a falling out with Marvel after Thor Dark World. Looked like her being in Jane was done. But now she's starring in her own film, like, co-starring with Thor, with Chris Hemsworth. So I felt like there was some like fire to this, like, I'm not gonna say rumor, but like idea of there. So Dylan Musk, you got even Ewan. We just saw him. He came back. Do you see? She's dead, but that doesn't really matter in these things. Do you see Natalie Portman returning to Star Wars, whether it be a movie or Disney Plus, for something down the line?
Yeah, 100%. At some point in her life, maybe when she's like 70 or something, they bring
Whoa.
her back.
Yeah.
I don't
Lots
know.
of
I
de-aging
think at
happening.
some point it's bound to happen. When like the Star Wars numbers on Disney Plus are dwindling, you bring back another person like this. You slap her on the cover title card of Disney Plus. You put it on the posters on the buses everywhere, and then you're good. You get like the fans back in there because they don't care about quality. They just want to see those people again.
Hey.
So no shit on Obi-Wan. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment there.
I
but
care about quality. I'm just a trap. I'm just a slave to it. Like I want it to be
that's
good.
the Star Wars way. Who cares if it's good or not? We just want more of it. Is the mentality there from the fans. So I think this will happen at some point. I think, is it actually an exclusive scoop from this website? Probably not, but I think this is a pretty safe one to put out there. And once again, great timing. They're really good with their clickbait, right? Because she's hot in the news right now.
Yeah.
With, probably doing the touring and whatnot for Thor. So once again, this website knows what they're doing. They know how to get those clicks.
And Ewan and
assuming.
Hayden are 2 actors linked to her because of Star Wars, right? Like they did those 3 movies together and stuff
Perfect
and
timing.
everything. So, and that's a good thing if it ever happens. They can go back years later and say, "Oh, look, we told you, exclusive confirmed." There's sites that do that. It's like you reported this 4 years ago. Like it doesn't count anymore. Like
Did
I don't
they
think
delete old articles that have been debunked?
Ooh, probably, but I don't have that confirmed. S-Bubs, let me know, because S-Bubs, he's on the Reddit forums where they rank all the scoopers and everything like that, and Giant Freaking Robot is very low. So let me know if they've been known to
But they're
delete
still
them.
on the list.
They're
so-
still on the list. They have to because they still get some stuff right, I guess, So Jessica, where are you? Natalie Portman coming back to. So Dylan, what was you said 100% for you?
I'm gonna go 100%, but
Yeah.
Or what was the exact?
No, just said
wording?
will return to Star Wars.
Okay, then yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100.
Jessica.
Yeah.
I think this might be another hat trick because I'm also going 100%. There's gonna be something, whether it doesn't even say it's a major role. They could
Could be a
just have
what
her
if
back.
episode.
Yep.
Yeah, it could be anything. It could be as a Force ghost. It could be as a hologram recording.
Yep.
There's so many different things. 100% she'll get a check big enough to bring her back for something.
Yeah, I'll have to do the hat trick on this, and that's where I'll give the website credit because it's a smart rumor, it's a smart prediction. If you put this as a prediction, be like, oh, that's completely right because it's exclusive. I guess I don't know how much I believe it.
Exclusive prediction.
But at the same time, like there could be something to it of like she's back in the Disney family and they're talking. This was the same way as far as she didn't have a great experience on that last Star Wars. There was a lot of problems there of just a lot of her stuff got caught and same thing, like would she do that? But she came back for Thor with a big role here. In my opinion, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I just had this working theory at some point Disney has to pull the Darth Vader TV show lever. Like, it's just like they brought him into Disney Plus. That would make a lot of money. And I just feel that not even flashbacks, like Vader dreaming and having a vision of Natalie Portman's Padme in a conversation of thinking about like a what if things ended up okay, or like you guys said, there's so many avenues. I just think, and I think like Star Wars reminds me a lot about wrestling, where they have this, and even Dylan's right about this. In wrestling, they do this where they bring back a lot of the old timers, and they sometimes do it too much. And it's like, I just want to see the new talent, but it's always like, okay, who haven't we brought back? Who could do a match? It's kind of like this. Like, once you did those OG3, it was like, oh well, we got Lando back. Well, we got a Ewan back. We got Hayden back. You eventually start to go down that list, and it's like, well, if you get Natalie Portman, that brings excitement to any project, you know?
Check this out, too. We know that right now, working on Thor with Taika, who I'm sure is like the most fun person of all time, right? Like, I feel like if you pick anyone to go have dinner with, any director, like, who wouldn't pick him? He's just a great dude, it seems like.
Him or Christopher Walken.
He's working on Star Wars stuff, so maybe that's a good way, like, she maybe had some bad experience, but that was in the dark ages of Star Wars. But Taika's like, hey, I'm doing this movie. You want to come back as this character? And she's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Because maybe it could be a small cameo thing. I think that just writes itself.
I mean, it could even be, you could go so far out and to say it's like a twin sister that was, you know, separated at birth. Like, there's so
twins running the family.
Is Tales of the Jedi, is that the Star Wars What If?
No, well, no, that's the new.
Has that officially been announced?
No, they've done they did comic books back in the day. I think they will get there, and I think a lot of people want that to happen. They did. It's not exactly What If, but there's this thing called Star Wars Visions, where it's 9 episodes and it's the anime, but that's like completely different universe. Like, none of the canon of Luke, Darth is in that. So there's testing their waters and whatnot. But as Bub says, she might voice Padme in a show or something like Tales of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi is like it's an animated series coming out this year, and one episode's going to be about Count Dooku training a young Qui-Gon. So what's really cool though.
So they're not What If episodes.
No.
In that same way, they're just like smaller stories from the trilogies.
Yeah, exactly. It's fleshing out some characters we didn't know. Something that is cool about that though is Qui-Gon, Liam Neeson's voicing Qui-Gon, and then his son is voicing young Qui-Gon. So that's kind of cool. I like that stuff where it's like, that's fun. Cool. And I think even taking the voice out, because I think the voice is easy, I still think physically she will return at some point. Even if it's small, it's gonna happen, you know?
Yeah.
So
great scoop.
Yeah, we'll see. So that's the BS meter. I like to run through those rumors every once in a while, see what they are doing. And good episode, folks. Jessica, you made it through. I was worried there for a while. Didn't look like multiple stops and starts, but you powered through. The internet's working.
We're not going to jinx it here. I want to at least get to say, bye to the listeners. But I didn't think I was going to get in on this cast.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stops and starts, but we did it. Got to talk about Finn Wolfhard, Ghost Rider. So there you go.
You know what? This honestly should have been an episode that Taylor could have been on. With the La Llorona and the Ghost Rider chat.
Barbie.
Gives him a reason to listen. Yeah, Barbie. Yeah, that gives him a reason to listen. But.
The cryptid clues with the teeth in that invitation.
He still made an appearance somehow.
Yeah, he made one comment and then dipped, didn't he? He was doing some editing or something.
Or it was date night, and Madison went to use the facilities, and he checked on the phone right away. Like, what am I? He's just in the
What's new in the cryptid world?
Yeah, they found him yet? So, Dylan, anything to say before we end this off?
Nope.
Well, there you go. We can't end in a better way. So thank you everyone in the live chat that was there. Thank you everyone that watches later on or listens. If you have any feedback or you want to give us your BS meters, let us know. The Twitter, the Discord, the Facebook, the YouTube, all the shebang. So thank you very much. When you hear from us next.